Hi, Chad here with Purple Collar Life. You can see I've got the Toro Power Max 828 here ready. I need to do an oil change on this. A little bit embarrassed to admit that you're supposed to change the break-in oil after 2 hours. It's probably got more than 10 hours on this machine. It takes more than 2 hours just to do the in and out of our driveway, so I know I have more than 2 hours on this for sure. But as you know, we've been busy. If you've been watching the channel, you've seen the grapple, you've seen we've got a snow plow. So there's all kinds of stuff. If you haven't been following us, subscribe to Purple Collar Life. Please hit that like button down below, comment down below, and this video is going to be about changing the oil and a couple maintenance tasks on the Toro snowblower. It's only about 18 degrees outside, so you can see I've got the master kerosene heater here going in the garage, and it's got our garage temperature up to 41. It'll be difficult for you to hear me with this on, so I'm going to go ahead and turn it off. One of my biggest pet peeves is being prepared for a task. I don't like it when you get mid-task and you find out that you don't have the right tools and you're making a million trips in and out of the house or in and out of the building or in and out of the garage, because I've got the things I need in various places, so they're not always in the same spot. So I always like to make sure I have the tools I need for the project at hand as much as I know in advance. So for this oil change, we're going to start with the oil change on the Toro Power Max 828. I know for sure that I'm going to need the 10mm wrench to remove the oil drain. I'm going to need a funnel because I need to get the oil not to drip down over this tire, so I'm going to use this long funnel. I've got this empty jug that I'm going to catch the drain oil in. I've got my 5W30 synthetic blend oil that I'll be refilling with. It takes about a quart. I also have the 1/2-inch wrench because I want to check the skid height. I have my Astro AI air gauge with the air compressor pumped up because I want to check these two tires, make sure they're equal. I've had several people ask us lately about, does the snowblower track straight? And our snowblower has done a really good job. It tracks perfectly straight. I haven't noticed it pulling one way or the other. But that is one of the things I want to check and encourage you to check if you're having an issue, is the tires need to be inflated to the exact same amount. Obviously, if one tire has more or less air than another, it's going to pull or track in a different direction. The other thing is making sure that the skids are level with the machine. If you've got one skid just a little bit down compared to the other, the same thing, it's going to skid on that side and track one way or the other. So those are two really quick and easy things to check: tire pressure and skid height, to make sure you're going to track as straight as possible. I've run the snowblower for a couple minutes. I actually drove it from the big building over here to the garage, and then I let it run here in the garage for a little bit just to get the engine warmed up enough that that oil's not so cold. Like I said, it's somewhere between 16 and 20 degrees out right now. This was sitting out in the building that doesn't have any heat. Now, it was protected from the wind, so it was probably on the higher end of the temperature spectrum, but still, around 20 degrees, that oil is going to be really slow. So letting the snowblower warm up a little bit just loosens up that oil, lets it drain out a little bit faster, a little bit less like maple syrup in the cold weather or molasses. Another thing I forgot to mention that I have here is my little garage stool. Especially in the cold winter time, you don't want to be down on the concrete that's really cold while you're working. So the stool just gives me somewhere to sit while I'm working, and it keeps me up off of the cold concrete. So I'm going to just turn this a little bit to loosen it up with the 10mm wrench. And this is the first time I've broken that loose, so it was pretty tight. But then I want to get my jug for the waste oil, get it ready, and get my funnel in place so that when that oil comes out, it drains into this jug. Now, I'm not going to be lined up perfectly here, so I'm going to grab a board from underneath this to give it a little bit of height so that my funnel is directed into it. The other thing I want to do is loosen the dipstick and fill cap so that the engine can breathe as the oil drains out. Just helps it drain a little bit faster. Now, like I said, there's only going to be about a quart of oil in here, so you don't need a huge container. I've seen some people cut out a milk jug. You could actually use a 2-liter bottle. I like to not have to remove this tire though, so that's why I like the long funnel. And I'll put Amazon links for like a long funnel like this and a couple of these other things, just in case you need them. And clicking on those Amazon affiliate links doesn't cost you a penny more, but it does give us credit for sending you to the site, so Amazon gives us a little bit of commission. So again, this is a 10mm bolt drain plug. And it looks like there is also a washer, so you want to make sure you keep a hold of that washer when you pull the drain plug out. You saw mine was actually up against the drain rod and not against the nut, so I've slid it out so it's against the nut now and I can take it out at the same time. And that definitely needed changed. It is the original break-in oil. And it's got a little bit of a metallic color to it. So it's currently almost the end of January. We had this snowblower nice and early in the season, which was great because we had some early snows in October, and they were heavy snows, and this was good to have early in the season. So, you know, let's go ahead and talk about 2/3 of the way through or more than halfway through the winter season. What do we think about the snowblower? A lot of people have been watching our snowblower videos. They have way more views than any of our other videos at this time. So thank you all for watching those videos. But I think people were interested in knowing about a product like this, something that they would use at their home, on sidewalks, in a driveway. So let me give you my thoughts on it so far. Like I said, we've had it since the early part of October. We've had a chance to use it in some really heavy snows. I've had a chance to use it in some light snows. And if you don't know, we live on a long driveway. It's about a 1/4 mile long. It's a gravel driveway, number 3 gravel, really big stones. So with that, I've got the skids set so that the snowblower is not picking up that gravel. And this does a nice job of not picking up the gravel. When it does pick up the gravel, it usually drops it either out the front, or if it shoots out the chute, it doesn't send it a million miles away and I don't hear it hitting things. But I do always pay attention and make sure I know where the quick stick and the chute are pointed, so that if I would catch a stone, I'm not shooting it at something like a car or our house or the garage. I like the speed control. I like all the controls really. I think the system works really well. Starting it is easy. I've started it both ways using the electric, which is obviously easy, and the pull start is also easy. I've had no trouble with that. Like I said before, I've had no trouble with tracking. I've never had it bogged down to the point where it stalls out. I've never hit anything to the point where it stalls out. This PowerMax snowblower does not have shear bolts or shear pins, so I think that's a great thing. If I hit a stone and I'd shear a pin out there, I don't want to be out in the freezing cold Northwest Pennsylvania snowstorm trying to replace a shear pin. So the fact that this does not have those shear pins, and if it does hit something, it shuts the engine off, it cuts the engine, I like that system way better. I think it's a much better system for the times when you're using a snowblower are the least opportune times to be working with your hands out in the cold trying to replace a bolt somewhere. So great idea by Toro. Some people have asked, our driveway is a long driveway. What do we think about a snowblower in a long driveway? I think it works fine if you've got time to do it. It does take more time than plowing snow, but like we've said in some other videos that you can check out, the advantage to this is you can keep the driveway as wide as you want it. You can make passes and blow that snow far away from the driveway, so you're not worried about the driveway getting narrower, as I do worry about with a snow plow. Each time I plow it, the driveway gets a little bit more narrow because I'm not able to push those snow rows back far enough. And then I've got to use the front end loader or something to push them back. And being a long driveway, and being that this is an 828, which means 28 inches wide in the opening, it takes, a lot of passes up and down that long driveway to get the snow cleared. So if you have a big driveway like us, I would recommend getting a larger snowblower than this. If you're getting a walk-behind snowblower and you've got a long driveway, I'd get the biggest model you can possibly get to clear those swaths as quick as possible. Now, if I'm in the city or a town and responsible for plowing the sidewalks, this would be absolutely perfect. It drives really well, the tires dig in great, the width is just about perfect for a sidewalk in town, so you could go up the sidewalk and back and get all the snow off that sidewalk. Perfect machine for that type of situation. If you've got a long driveway, I'd size up a little bit. The extra horsepower is not overly necessary. Like I said, I've never had trouble with the 252cc engine on this particular Power Max, but I would want the wider chassis if I were going to do the snow all winter long and somewhere that got a lot of snow. We're in Northwest Pennsylvania. We get Lake Erie snowstorms. We get a fair amount of snow each winter, but there are a lot of places that get way more snow than us. So if I were in one of those places, I'd want the biggest beast I could have to take care of those snowstorms. Now this is still draining out. I've got the snowblower fairly level on the garage floor here. There is a tiny bit of slope forward and from your right to left because there's that drain in the floor. So it may be getting a little bit of extra drain, which would be good. If I didn't have that, I could always put a board underneath what is our right-hand side of the machine looking at it from the front, and that might help it drain a little bit faster. But it's not too bad. And I wanted to show you, it is, like I said, cold out. You can see the shadows there. This part of the garage is lit, but not here where we added in those fan-style LED instant on lights. You can see that gives way brighter white light to work in this area. I need to get a couple more of them to get over here into this area. Now while that continues to drain, we're going to go ahead and check the tires here. They are to be at a maximum of 20 psi and they need to be equal on both sides. So we've got the Astro AI tire gauge. I love this thing. Connects right to my airline and shows me a digital readout of the tire pressure. So I'm going to put them both at 20. So you can see here I'm above 20. I'm at 25.6. This little button lets you drain pressure from the tire. There's 20.0. You can see this system works really good. Right out of that drain spout into the long funnel and into my jug that's on a 2x4, 2x6. So this side also is at about 25 psi, so we were over by 5 on both sides. We'll go a little bit down just so we can show filling it up with this gauge. You can see how nicely that works. So much better than my old system where I had a gauge and the chalk gauge and chalk you're always switching in between. There we're at 20 pounds, perfect. Now in the wintertime I actually keep this gauge so that it's not out here in the freezing cold. It does have batteries in the back of it and they wouldn't last long out in the frigid temperatures. Looks like we're done draining here. So I'll go ahead and put the drain plug back in, but I did grab a rag so that anything that drips I can catch. So what I'm going to do is I'll go ahead and start the bolt into the drain here just to keep anything else from coming out or any dirt from going in when I pull the funnel out. And just finger tighten that for now. And then I can slide this funnel right into that jug and anything that's left in the funnel will keep draining into the jug. You can see that works really nicely. It's great to keep these old jugs for exactly occasions like this. I'll wipe that off. I don't think I spilled a single drip. Perfect. And then I'm just going to tighten this just enough, not crazy tight. I don't think it needed to be as tight as it was on here last time. If it would start to drip, I'd see it, but I think that's plenty tight right there. And then we can start putting oil in, and I'll use this rag to check the level as we fill. So I grabbed a clean funnel. Small engines like these do not have oil filters, so it's ideal to keep the cleanest funnel you can have to put the clean oil in, because you got to let it drain down through there. If you can pick the funnel up just a little bit without letting it overflow, it It drains in a little bit faster, but there's no way for air to get in there, so it goes down through the funnel pretty slow. And it should take just about a full quart. Put in one more gulp and then check it. Now I'm going to wipe the dipstick off, put it in, try not to touch the sides on the way down, twist it to where it drops down into place, let it sit for a minute, and then check it. Looks like we're good. We'll check it one more time here. Still some oil along the sides here draining down through, so I want to make sure we get an accurate reading. It's nice that on this dipstick there is an H and an L, high and low, with the hash area in between, so you can see exactly where you need to fill up to. Like I said, I just twist this till I find where it drops down. Right there. And then check it. Trying not to touch the sides on the way out. Now, I don't know if you can see on the camera, but we are right in the middle of that hash mark. Almost perfect. I'm going to add just a hair to get us closer to the top of the hash without going over. Just about exactly 1 quart. Because it feels like there's just a tiny bit left in here. Yep. Now there is a kit you can buy from Toro that includes the oil, a new spark plug. I'll put a link to that down below if I can find it on Amazon. But I always have this Wolf's Head 5W30 around. It's a semi-synthetic. It seems to work in great in everything I have. So I went ahead and used it here in the snowblower. Now after I've changed the oil and made sure it's at the right level, I always like to start the machine up just to make sure everything sounds okay. I'm not going to choke it because it was running not that long ago. And I'm just going to pull start it. Works perfect. Now the last thing I want to do is check that the skids are level. There's a couple different ways to do this. I also want to take a look inside here just to make sure everything looks okay. So on this side I've got exactly 2 inches from the floor to the bottom of the metal. I could measure it here at the top, and I've got 23 inches to just about the edge of the round on the front. Do the same on this other side. 2 inches to the floor and 23 inches to the round. So we're good. I just like to take a look around and make sure that everything else works good. You can see that the quick stick still goes up and down nicely, left and right. Everything in the chute looks good. Everything with the augers looks good. Got a little bit of corrosion on this aluminum piece, probably because I was out by the road. In Pennsylvania, we use salt on the roads, and I think that salt got in here. So I could probably spray that with a little bit of like a fluid film or something to help protect it. And then this, in here, from catching a couple rocks, my augers are a little rusted on the very cutting edge of them. But these augers look good. A couple spots right here where you can see they caught a rock. So I'll hit that with some fluid film, wipe it nice and clean, and it should be good to go for the next time. There's not enough snow out there today to do any snow blowing, but I'll put some video of us snow blowing before with this great Toro PowerMax. And you already know what to do by this time. Click that like button if you like videos like this. Click subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, the little bell beside it, and leave us a comment below. We've got lots of other Toro snowblower videos, lots of videos about lawnmowers, tractors, firewood, and all kinds of stuff on our channel. Please check it out. Now it's freezing cold out here. You can probably see my breath. I'm going to warm up by the fire. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again the next time.